What are you afraid of? Snakes? Spiders? Flying? That's what we're talking about today here in the Garage in the Zone. Hey everybody, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Doug and you're out here in my garage, which I call the Garage in the Zone, a place where I come to build things and to hang out and to do some thinking, and I just love it out here. And every once in a while I invite you to come in and spend a few minutes with me, so I'm real happy that you're here. What are you afraid of? I'm going to tell you today that fear is perhaps the greatest thing holding you back from being any kind of force in this world. And I'm not talking about dynamic, huge, in your face force. I'm just talking about, making a little, even just a little bit of ripple in the ocean of the universe. And if you can overcome your fear, you can become a more confident person. Now, I'm going to put it into context today for you. Most of you who have been here before know that I primarily build guitars out here. And just a little bit about my background about how I got into building guitars was I'm a big blues fan. And 9-10 years ago, something like that, 8 years ago, I lost track of that time, I was doing a little research on some of the old blues masters from the 20s and 30s and so forth. And they were unbelievable musicians. But they didn't have fantastic guitars like we have today. No, they didn't have any money. So they had to make their own guitars. And what they built them out of was various things they found around their homes or in the junkyard. But mostly what they built them out of were cigar boxes. And, maybe something kind of like this. This is a really nice one, by the way. Or something like this. And again, this is a nice one too. They might make nice guitars someday. But they built their guitars out of those things, and that's how they made their music. And so I thought to myself, that's pretty interesting. It looks like something I might be able to make for myself. I might be able to make a cigar box guitar. And so I started fooling around with it, and I built a couple of them. And I thought they were pretty cool, but I didn't dare show them to anybody or talk about them to anybody because, I was afraid. I was afraid of what they might think. I was afraid they might make fun of it. I was afraid they might scoff at them, and so forth. Well, anyhow, after I made a few more, I got pretty good at it. And after a while, I thought, I want to make the leap from making a cigar box guitar, because after all, there's only so much you can do with a cigar box guitar. And after a while, at least to me, it becomes nothing more than trying to pimp out a, 71 Ford Pinto, something like that. I mean, it can be done. But why? Well, so, I thought, it'd be great to just make the leap and make a regular guitar. But I knew with my limited skills, at least at that time, that this was going to be something a little bit beyond my self-teaching mode. So I decided to go to a school for 7-8 days, something like that, Nazareth Guitar Institute up in Nazareth, Pennsylvania. And so I went up there, and before I left, my wife, Ramona, said, "Are you going to take one of your cigar box guitars to show to those guys?" And I said, "Are you out of your mind? These guys are professional guitar builders. These guys who are teaching this class, they're not going to want to see some goofy little cigar box guitar that I built." But she kept it up, and insisted that I take one to show. Now, this terrified me. I really did. If it wasn't for her pushing me, I never would have done this. But I did. I took one of those cigar box guitars up to Nazareth. And every night I'd call her on the phone to see how things were back home. And, I kind of missed her too. And she would always ask me, "Did you show them your guitar yet? Did you show them the cigar box guitar?" No. Well, it was maybe 4 or 5 days into the school before I really worked up enough nerve. Because keep in mind, I was afraid here, you see. I worked up enough nerve to take that cigar box guitar in. And when I did, I said to everybody, there were like 5 students and 3 teachers. I said, I want to show you a cigar box guitar that I made. And I pulled out one that I had made from an old, I forget the cigar, but I'm going to show you a picture of it in just a second. Cohiba. It was a Cohiba cigar box. And I took it and I showed it to them, and they went absolutely bananas over this guitar. They passed it around. Everybody had to play it. And one of the teachers, a guy by the name of Tracy Cox, he said, Doug, I want to buy that guitar. Now, I was absolutely blown away by this. Totally blown away by this, because in my mind, something that I had created certainly couldn't be up to any kind of standard where somebody would actually want it. Forget the fact that this was a guy who made his living by building guitars and so forth. Might want that, see, might find it desirable. It just blew my mind. He said, how much do you want for the guitar? Well, I couldn't come up with a figure, and I said, well, let me think about that. So the next day I went in and I said, Tracy, I have no idea. I said, but how about this? How about if we make a swap? How about if we make a trade, you see? I'll give you the guitar if you will do an inlay for me, and I had in mind a very simple inlay on the headstock of the guitar that I'm building here. And he said, done. What do you want on it? And I said, well, how about a frog? What kind of frog? He asked me all kinds of questions. I said, you're the artist? You do it. Now, Tracy is a master inlay artist. He is unbelievable. He does inlay work for noted musicians, famous people all around the world. And so what he did was, in his head, he came up with a design, and he made this. This is the guitar that I built at the school, and this is the inlay, and I'm going to show you a still picture of it here. This is the inlay that he did. Now, when you look at the picture of this thing, do you see those 2 little bars right down underneath the frog itself? He said to me, Doug, I just did some work on one of Bob Dylan's guitars, and I took out some old inlay, and I kept the pieces. And I said, yo, do you think you could use a couple of those pieces in this, you know, on my headstock? And he said, absolutely. So those 2 little bars down at the bottom there, those came from Bob Dylan's guitar. So whenever I play this guitar and try to sing, I can't even understand my own voice. I start to growl and start to lisp and all kinds of things, but a little bit of horrible humor there. But anyhow, the point is this, you see, that I got over my fear. I was prodded into it, but I got over my fear. And as a result, you see, I was able to put into the hands of another player a guitar that I built, and I received something back. Now, since that time, I've made, I don't know, 30-some guitars. I only have like 2 or 3 of them. All the rest of them have either been sold, and I never ever went out of my way to actively try to sell a guitar. All of them have been sold because somebody looked at them and said, I really like that guitar. I want to buy that from you. Now, so it's just unbelievable to me that these guitars I've either sold or some of them I've given away. And they're in the hands, some of them, of professional musicians. They're playing gigs in places all through the East Coast primarily. And others are giving incredible pleasure to people who are playing for themselves, for their own enjoyment, or for their family, or for their friends, or whatever. But something that I've made, you see, I've been able to get into the hands of other people. This instrument, this creation of beauty, if you will, I've been able to overcome my fear and get it into the hands of somebody else. They, in turn, are making beautiful things with it, and So the little ripple that I have becomes a little bigger ripple in the lives of somebody else. And I honestly believe that that makes a difference in the universe. Now, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of sharing with people? What are you afraid of getting out there into the world? It can be something very, very, very simple. It can be something that you make. It doesn't have to be something complex like a guitar. It can be something little tiny, even a little crafty kind of thing. But if you get over your fear and you give it to somebody, it'll make a difference in their life. And they, in turn, their attitude might change and they might do something nice for somebody else. Are you afraid of meeting new people? Force yourself to stick out a hand, or in these COVID days, you have to do something a little different. But get over your fear. Meet a new person. Now, you might be shut down. It might not make any difference at all. But there's a chance that that person might think it's so great to meet you, and it might make a difference in their day. Do you see somebody, maybe even a total stranger, then you think that they're doing something or acting in some way that is good? Give them a compliment. And if you give them a compliment, again, there's no guarantees here, but it might make a difference in their day, and in turn might change their attitude, and they might do something for somebody else, and so on and so on. You can start ripples in this universe, in this world, in your family, in your work, wherever you are. You can start something simply by getting over your fear, putting yourself out there, putting your creation out there, putting your friendliness out there, putting your smile out there, putting what you do out there to people. And believe me, it makes all the difference in the world. So overcome your fear, be strong, be bold, and I think that's enough, don't you? All right. Hey, as always, thanks for coming by. Hit that like button, share it with your friends, subscribe on YouTube, hit the bell icon, all that good stuff. You know the drill. I'll talk to you again soon. See ya. Bye.